Program NATO puts on a show of military might in Romania. There's 1,500 troops taking part in 3-week drills. We look at what they're doing there and perhaps what's the message they're trying to send. For now on the program, though, what's in a name? The Islamic State that used to call itself ISIS is known for its bloody campaigns in Iraq and Syria. But its renown is causing problems of a very different kind in America, where it's forcing some businesses to abandon their brands. Here's Marina Portnaya.
To the world, ISIS is known as a brutal and radical terrorist organization. But to New Yorkers living in this neighborhood in Queens, ISIS is known as the place where you used to go to get a manicure and pedicure. Up until last week, this 4.5-year-old business was called ISIS Nails. The owner tells me she picked the name because it sounded unique and simple. However, within the last year, Charlene C. says she's been repeatedly harassed, shamed, and accused of owning a business that serves as a cover for jihad.
It was just getting worse. So people keep calling in, they come in, and they were just yelling at us. They say, oh, you have low shame, and you keep this name on. That means that you agree, that you feel comfortable, you don't feel anything with what they do. They cut off people's head. Did you know that?
Charlene says she's received prank calls from people asking how to join ISIS. All this, coupled with a 30% loss of business, finally forced a change of name to Best Nails and Spa.
I keep telling them we're a victim too. I would panic. Maybe somebody will get hurt eventually.
According to Egyptian culture, Isis is the goddess of health, marriage, and wisdom. A far cry from the word's present-day connotation. Marina Portnaya, RT, New York.
It's not the first time the word ISIS has forced businesses to rebrand. An English language school had to change its name because of associations with terrorism. A French band had also had to look for another title so it could keep performing in public. And a mobile payment provider had to rebrand to try and save its reputation. And a terror group is also making life hard for the individual. One woman whose name is ISIS told us some time ago the problems that she has to deal with every day.
I have been in communication with many ISISes. We've actually created a nice community of support for each other. And no one has said that they were going to be changing their name. I hope that by continuing to do something in raising awareness for our name, it helps society understand that there are hundreds and thousands of women out there named ISIS, and it's really the little girls that I worry about. You know, teenagers and little girls that are being bullied in school and growing up with this stigma now.
It's at 12:10 p.m. here in Moscow. France is reportedly ready to cancel the contract to supply Russia with 2 Mistral warships and give back more than 700 million euros to Moscow. Our team's Medina Kochanova can now join us live from downtown to give us more details on this. Medina, nice to see you. Do tell us more about these reports that this contract is about to be cancelled.
It is true, Roddy. Hello. France indeed has proposed to terminate the Mistral ships contract, reportedly offering the Russian side a financial compensation in return. Now, the sum which has been offered to Moscow is substantially less than the money that the Russian side has already spent on this particular military project, including the advance payment that has already been given to the French side, a training of around 400 crew, and of course the new infrastructure that was already built to maintain the military carriers. Now, according to reports, there is also another condition. Russia, to receive this financial compensation, Russia will first have to allow to give it permission to sell the helicopter carriers to a third party. Now, reportedly, the Russian side side has already disagreed with such an offer, insisting that all expenses as well as losses should be compensated for by the side that has decided to terminate the contract. And of course, here we need to mention the deadline that was written in the contract in the first place between Russia and France. Now, the 16th of May deadline, and that particular deadline gives Russia a right to demand financial compensation for not fulfilling the obligations that were written in the contract.
Yeah, expectations are not for a smooth sailing ahead. Medina, take us back, if you will, for a broader perspective here. The saga, it's been going on for quite some time, hasn't it?
It's true. It has indeed been going on for quite some time, indeed for a number of years. Now, the contract for the delivery of these particular Mistral helicopter carriers was signed between Russia and France back in 2011. And then the French side was expected to hand over the first ship back in November 2014. However, as we understand, that never happened, as the delivery has been postponed indefinitely. Meanwhile, I have to mention that the French side was for a number of times announcing that it will eventually fulfill the contract obligations. But again, that never happened. And in between that period of time, there was a number of reports on the future and possible fate of the Mistral carriers. Now, there were some reports claiming that the carriers will be remodeled and then sold to another party. There were some reports claiming that the carriers might be dismantled, and there were some reports even saying that there is a possibility that they might be sunk at sea. And now here is the latest twist in this ongoing saga, as you mentioned. Now, France has reportedly offered the Russian side financial compensation in order to terminate the contracts.
All right, RT's Medina Konchenova. Thanks for that. Now, as we've heard, France is thought to be readying to refund Moscow 700 million euros approximately. That's far below the 1.2 billion euros Paris could have made in profit from going through with the sale. And the total estimated loss, including maintenance for the two warships, could reach as high as 5 billion euros. All right, a very short break in store for us here on RT International, though we're going to come back with stories like this. For example, daredevils in Dubai, fearlessly soaring high in the sky with nothing but, well, two wings and a prayer. Seriously startling footage. Back in just a sec.